flat rider here. Hope everyone's having a great day. So what I wanted to talk about today is, it can't be that long of a long-term review because I've only ridden a little less than 200 miles on my bike. I will have ridden 200 miles today, but I decided I was going to shoot a little video seeing how it's a new bike, new company. Some of the things that I love, like, and don't like, and hate about my brand new Indian Roadmaster. So I'll start with the good parts, the things I love. For my personal frame, I have 30-inch inseam. I know I got short Italian legs, but I do have kind of a tall torso. This bike fits me like a glove. It is where my feet are, where my hands rest. I can firmly plant my feet when I stop. The layout of this bike is absolutely perfect for me. So that's a definite plus. That's one of the things I like the best about this bike. Two, I love the way it handles. It is for a bigger bike. Not to knock Harley Davidson in any way, but this Roadmaster is a lot more nimble and maneuvering than my Harley was. I don't know if it's because it has a lower center of gravity. I don't know if it's because of the shocks. I don't know the reason, but having ridden Harleys for the past 10 years, the last 7 on the touring frame, I will tell you that this bike is a lot more maneuverable than my Harley was. Is it as maneuverable as a Goldwing or a BMW? I'm not sure, because I've only taken quick jumps around the block on either of those two bikes, but it feels just as maneuverable as those bikes. I don't know if it is, but it feels that way. The other thing that I really appreciate about this bike is, for its price tag, it has the feature checklist that basically my CVO had. Heated grips and seats, power windshield, cruise control. It has a really good stereo in it, even though I really don't listen to it that much. Navigation, power locks, remote starts. It just has basically all the features my CVO did, and then the added bonus of having a power windshield, which is very nice. I'm very happy with the power windshield. It's quick. I don't know if it's as fast as my CVO was. It's hard to tell because the raw numbers on the CVO put it a step above my Indian. Like, it has more horsepower and torque, but the Thunderstroke engine hits its stride at a lot lower RPM, so it's kind of hard to gauge which one's actually quicker, because I'm getting at the same RPM range, the numbers are very, very close. So I wouldn't say it's faster. I would say, if I had to bet, I would say the CVO is a little quicker. But in all honesty, if you're buying a touring bike, you're really buying it for how fast it goes. Probably not. I think the suspension is a lot better. It's a little bit hard to tell because while the newer fairing doesn't rattle, the windshield does kind of vibrate a little bit. You can't hear it, but you can definitely see it. But so on the video, it may look like I'm getting bounced around a lot, but I'm actually not. I actually think the ride on this bike is more comfortable than any Harley I've ever been on, and I think that's mainly because it has so much better. It has such better shocks with a lot more travel. I think the current touring frame has 2 inches of travel, and this one has 5. So it's a much plusher ride. I'll say that 5 times fast. It's a lot softer of a ride than my Harley was. Now, I don't mean to keep comparing this bike to a Harley Davidson. I'm only doing that because having almost exclusively ridden Harleys for so long, it's really the only frame of reference I have. I don't ride Goldwings or Yamahas or BMWs. I mean, I have sat on them, and I have taken some of them, like, you know, on a short trip around the block, but that's not enough to really gauge how much better or worse this bike is than a Star Venture, for instance. So my only frame of reference is Harley Davidson, and I don't want to seem like I'm bashing Harley, because I will own a Harley again. I mean, I may have 2 motorcycles. I may have an Indian and a Harley. You know, I have a lot of love for Harley. This, you know, I just wanted an Indian and decided to give him a shot. But that, again, that doesn't mean I will never buy a Harley again. I got a real soft spot in my heart for Harley Davidson. So, anyway, getting back to my pros and cons. When it comes to the cons of this bike, a minor annoyance. I'll start with the minor annoyances, and there's a couple of them. One, wow, this road kind of fell apart. One is that the fit and finish just isn't that great. These buttons on the handlebar controls, they're connected to the base unit by these real little prongs, and you can literally, if you tug kind of hard, you can yank them off. You can't do that on most other bikes. There's subtle there's like gaps in the paint in some spots. I know that's kind of a nitpicking thing, but still, on a Goldwing, on a BMW, on a Harley, you do not see that. Some of the materials, like these handlebars, you can tell this is like cheap, hard synthetic material. Whereas on most other bikes, if it's not rubber on the outside, it feels, you know, kind of like soft rubber. This center storage thing right there, I mean, I've seen things that for $9.99 were made out of higher grade plastic. So there are some fit and finish issues that I think Indian has, and I think it comes from their philosophy of, with snowboards and ATVs, where high quality fit and finish isn't the most important thing. The most important thing is that it has good suspension, it has a good engine in it and whatnot. So I think that's kind of a learning curve that Polaris is going to have to go through when they, you know, come out with future generations of their bikes. The things I don't like, and let me preface with the things I don't like. I don't dislike them enough that it would keep me from buying an Indian again. But they are, to me, bigger gripes. And the first one is that this Thunderstroke engine, while it is super smooth, it looks fantastic. You know, it's really like the center point of the bike as far as the aesthetics. It's pretty damn hot. For those Harley riders out there, I would say it's just as, if not possibly a slight bit more hot than the twin cam 110 engine. It puts out that much heat. So I'm probably going to have to get some heat guards, and the heat guards for Indian are not as stealthy or as nice as the ones for Harleys are. So I'm gonna have to sacrifice a bit of looks on my bike to put heat shields on this bike that don't suck. So that's a bit of a, that's a problem. The engine puts off a lot of heat. The other thing, and this is just, this may not even affect most people, but it affects me, is that I like to accessorize my bike, and it's not nearly as easy to do on an Indian as it is a Harley. Outside the Harley part catalog, which is, ginormous, there's just a ton of third-party companies out there that build and sell third-party add-ons for Harley Davidsons. And for every 20 of those, there's one that sells stuff for Indians. So it's a little more difficult to personalize your bike if you're riding of an Indian than it does a Harley. Now the flip side to that is, since there's so many more Harley Davidsons on the road, you do kind of have a little bit of personalization anyway, just by the fact that you have a bike that not everyone else has. I've ridden over 200 miles on this bike, and I've yet to actually see another Roadmaster. Now I know Indians is having good sales. Despite the turn down, they're still improving in their sales year over year. But I mean, even in their best year, they are outshined by Harley. I mean, Harley's sales are going down, but they'd have to go down by 70-80% to where they get close to Indian numbers. So there's a lot more Harleys sold every year than Indians. But still, be that as it may, I just don't see a lot of Indians on the road. So you do have a little bit of built-in exclusivity with that. The other, I'm trying to think if there's anything else about this bike that really set, is a major plus or con. I do really like it. I actually like it more than my CVO because it's so different. Not that it's a better bike than my CVO. That's not what I mean. It's just that my CVO, when I was riding in it, it was essentially just a gussied up same view that I had when I had my Street Glide. Whereas this is, different. It's a different look, and it feels different. The riding triangle is different. The way it shifts, where the hand controls are, it's just different. And that's one of the things that I'm digging the most about it, is how different it is. So I'm sure if I find something else about this bike that I love or hate, I'll put it in another video. But until that happens, I hope everyone has a great day, great week. This is Region Rat Rider signing out, and I will talk to you all later.